Hey, what's up, guys? This is Team Hard Life Captain Alberto Zertuche, and I'm finally catching back up on all the underwater footage that I've been getting. Oh, it's like 14 hours of underwater footage, daylight testing, nighttime testing, drum testing, everything testing. Let's see what we got.
Gotta bite, gotta bite. I think I got a lot of stress on my mind. It's a nice day to go. Yeah, I gotta learn. I'ma call the whole team.
Alright, guys, so tonight I am actually throwing the fish bites with sea lice on there. And these are live sea lice or fresh dead, but they have been occasionally hitting drum, so I figured I'd go and throw them out there and see if maybe we can get lucky and see how the drum feed on these sea lice. I know I've done underwater footage before where the drum were coming up and sucking the flesh of the sea lice out of the head and then out of the tail and then leaving the carcass basically there. So I wanted to see if their feeding habits are still the same and or have changed. Because as you notice too, on the tail end of the sea lice there, I have actually ripped it off, and this is a dead sea lice. It's not a live one, but we'll see what ends up happening, guys. All right, guys. So I kind of gave y'all a little history on how and how I learned about, the Harrington and Harnell fishing rods and stuff like that. And, it was a tradition of guys that had already been fishing with them, had already done the testing and troubleshooting. And, through their experience of fighting fish and catching big monsters is where mine came from. Obviously, I changed up the game to the way it suited me and what was going to work for me and what style of fishing I was getting into. And then that all changed again once I got to where now my leaders represented me and what I was doing, how I was doing it, and everything else. So I really had to change up. What is that? That's eating on my bait right there. Sorry, guys. I got into talking and I forgot what I was doing here for a second. Well, I mean, I knew what I was doing, but what I was talking about was like I had already pre-edited a lot of this, and I was trying to figure out what it was. But yeah, let me see. That's a fish. I thought it was a big shrimp there for a second. All right, guys. So I've had the pizza fish bite down there with sea lice, and it was not a live one. It was a fresh dead one. And I was hoping a big drum would come along and chew it up or something, to come along and start eating. But that is one of the things that we do deal with now during the winter season. The bait fish do get a bit scarce, and then to the big fish the same way. We were hoping with the underwater camera, obviously, to try and get them that they're sitting there. Or maybe they are. Maybe I'm just too deep where they're not at right now currently feeding. Because that's another thing, too. We always assume they're against the bottom. All right, guys. So after this baits have set for about 35 minutes now, I'm going to go ahead and pull it in because that's the other thing I'm doing too is trying to set smaller time limits on the underwater camera just in case I am fishing on credit. But we have been noticing that the baits have not been disturbed in quite a while. Some of the shrimp we even put out had sat there for quite some time before we even noticed that they were taken and or even chewed up to be replaced. So in the same deal, I want to say that was crossing my mind big time because at the same time I had just checked my bait and went ahead and casted it back out. I was thinking to myself, you know what, maybe that's something I should do. Go and put on some shrimp because I know a few days prior they were catching slot drums on shrimp. So I was noticing that pretty much everybody on the pier at the time was either using sea lice and or crab and sea lice and fish bites and stuff like that. So I said, you know what, let me go ahead and put some shrimp on there. So I went ahead and started reeling it back in so I can go ahead and get that set up, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Let's check this out. And I don't know if y'all have caught it on any of the daytime footages, but what I was also doing too was trying out some of that bait string stuff that Breakaway had. And it's very thin rubber band that you basically wrap around the bait and keep it in place. So I started doing that because I knew the perch were being out there in a pain in the butt, and the shrimp are just too small to put in the pantyhose and tie it up. So what I went ahead and did was just wrap them up with that piece of rubber band, and I was testing it out because, like I said, I'd heard stories that it works really well, and actually this is probably the third trip that I was actually trying it out myself, and I was still unfamiliar with it, but as you can tell right there, man, the current is moving pretty good, and you can see the fish bite and the shrimp as well. So this rubber band stuff I started using, and like I said, it's my third trip with it. It is giving me a whole new option as to when I'm fishing for these drum. And actually, I've been doing pretty well with it. And a lot of it got me thinking because, like I said, on a few videos, we've noticed that during the cast, everything is fine until the bait hits the water. And with the carom being in tow with the heavy weight and everything else, it is, I feel, obliterating the bait because of that. So with this rubber band deal, I am looking forward into seeing more video where we can actually keep our bait on the hook through the cast. And as soon as, like I said, when it hits the water surface, it doesn't get knocked off the hook and I'm fishing there on credit. Because as you can already tell, your credit will be denied.